Hey, what's up, guys? Today we are going to do the weekly recap over here on Spare Change. Today we got Bill. What's up, Bill?
Not much, man. What's going on, brah? What's going on there, people?
We got Bill joining us today. So we are just going to talk about what we covered in the past week. First off, being Saw. So yesterday I watched Saw in 4K. Yesterday I dropped the review last night. I think I dropped it around. What time did I drop it around? I don't forgot. I think I dropped it around 10 o'clock last night.
Yeah, it was late.
And at least I know most of my viewers are on probably around 6 o'clock my time. So I don't know. You can usually tell how popular a movie is by how many views you get. But almost 24 hours, I only got like 6,000 views. So it's like, I guess not that many people are interested in
No one likes
Saw.
me. No one likes me.
Nobody cares about Saw.
Well, it's not nobody cares about Saw. Like for me personally, I love the idea, and I've seen. I can't watch Saw. I can't like. I watched the first one and all the way until the part where he starts doing his thing with the saw. I'm like, nope, I'm done. And then the last one I watched was the where they were all in the house, and I think it was like the third or fourth where the actual girl was his accomplice was actually in the house, and the idea of grabbing a hypodermic needle that was in a box that had razor blades struck so you couldn't pull your hand out, and then a big pit full of hypodermic needles. That was enough to me. I mean, it's a great quality movie, but yeah, it was over the top for me a little bit.
It's a great quality horror movie.
Yeah.
I told you I didn't think it was as gory as you may have thought it was. Because I thought it was gory prior to going into it. I was like, yo, I don't even want to review this because I think it's going to be... Because I don't like horror movies personally. Like, I'm not really into it that much. Especially like this horror porn stuff that people love to watch.
Horror
like Hostile.
porn?
Horror, just like glorified
Okay.
killing people. But...
That was a little class that I wasn't really aware of. I mean, other than like I Spit on Your Grave and Rage and a few other ones. But I mean, yeah, like women getting abused and coming back and killing the guys. I completely support that.
But after I watched that, I was like, this is not as bad as I thought it was. Because, I mean, they showed the guy at the beginning hanging by the barbed wire, which they really... I mean, it's not like they show him crawling through it. It's like implied that he's hanging there, got killed.
Impolite, yes.
And then the part you're talking about where he's sawing through his leg.
At the very end, I mean, that was a great turnaround at the end. And I'm sure like a lot of other smarter people than I like figured out that the guy was already there. But for me, it wasn't like, I don't mind horror movies. I like horror movies. I love The Witch. I love Supernatural. I love sci-fi horror. I love heads exploding. I love Scanners. Scanners, one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't like blades. I don't like knives. I don't like cutting. Although The Collector. Now there's a three. The third part hasn't come out yet. We had The Collection, The Collector, and I forget what the third one is. But there's a scene in, I think it's The Collector or maybe it's The Collection, where all these ravers are in this guy's house like as a nightclub, and these giant lawnmower wheels like swing down into the dance floor. It's like, it's all done, man. Like that kind of stuff is like, oh, gross, nasty. Okay, I can watch, I can laugh. But watching like a knife blade go into someone or like that, it just gives me heebie-jeebies. I think the scariest thing, I don't know about like, because you don't really like horror, but for me, the over the top, really just, I don't know, the real gory, like here's a knife and slashing to me is, it's okay. It's not, but that's not really scary. Like to me, scary is inferred. Like, in was it Hannibal?
Silence of the Lambs?
It was not Silence of the Lambs, but the second one, Hannibal, like where he's in Italy, and like there was so much of that was like more terrifying than a lot of other movies, like where he's he had a guy following when he walks past the guy and he slices his femoral artery in his groin, and just like the guy bleeds out in like 3 minutes. I mean, there's some really gross like stuff that's not gross. It's actually more terrifying than just overt, disgusting, cut your limbs off and stuff. I mean, there's a lot more thriller or terror in inferred damage and inferred death.
I think like Saw. I think the first Saw was kind of like that because they didn't really show him like his skin splitting apart when he sawed his leg open. It was just like he put the blade on his leg and then like fake blood came out. And I was like, oh, that's
Well, I had to
that's
say
not as
that,
scary as I thought it was.
and you were saying that before, and I had to say that, honestly, I had eaten pizza that night and then had orange juice, and my stomach was kind of like feeling a little funky. And as soon as I saw that part, I ran to the bathroom because that was it. So I can't really give an honest opinion of like how realistic that really looked. Although it did make my leg tingle. I am a person who I don't mind needles. I don't mind gunshots. I was raised with a gunsmith. I've been around guns my whole life since I was like 10 years old. But beyond that, knives freak me out. Like it's so much more personal. And I can when I see somebody slash with a knife, it's like I can feel it. It like really, really just grosses me out.
You're sensitive. That's all. You're just trying to be sensitive.
I'm a little girl, a little snowflake.
But yeah, so I did the review for Saw 4K yesterday, and I posted it online. I guess not too many people are interested too much in Saw. I mean,
how many years ago was that?
2004. So how many years is that?
17 years.
17 years? Yeah, that's a long time, man.
So
it
you could
like that far long.
If you were born when Saw came out, you're like, yeah, I'm a high school senior. What's Saw?
But it was a good looking, it was a decent looking transfer. I mean, it was shot in '04. It was shot on film. So there's a lot of grain in it. The audio was really good. That's a good thing about these horror movies. Like the surround sound is typically pretty good on them because, you get all the creepy sounds and the surround speakers and all that. And I didn't know. I think the first time I watched Saw, I didn't pay attention to it. I guess the bathroom that they're at the beginning is in a sewage plant.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew that?
Yeah. I remember that. I did some after I couldn't make it through the ending. I checked out some where this was. It was like a meat packing plant though. I thought it was was it like a meat packing plant or was it a sewage plant?
No, it was like a sewage place.
All right.
Yeah, because he said sewage. And then towards the end, there's a big sign that says something sewage, raw sewage or something like that.
I mean to interrupt, but Jen, you see what I'm talking about? Jen Kift, the eye, and I'm too scared to watch The Grudge.
The Grudge is
down here.
Yeah.
All right, so just want to say The Grudge. That's the kind of horror movies I love, like The Grudge, The Ring, dude. The Grudge, man, when that little kid walks downstairs in that stop motion crazy shit. Yeah. Holy Christ, man. That made my skin crawl. It was the best. That scared me for real.
That's not even scary though. The only horror movie I thought was scary was The Exorcist.
Dude, Exorcist was the real deal. That was I had a teacher. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm considerably older than Shane. And when I was in grade school, I had a teacher for the 5th, 6th grade, and this guy he was in the Philippines when The Exorcist came out, and he was like, dude, he said people ran for the doors, because the Philippines, I don't know if you know this, is a very Catholic country. They're very, they're very, very converted by the missionaries and stuff back in the 18th, 19th century. He's so they really, really strongly believe in that stuff. And he said people were screaming and running out. It was crazy. And I saw it as a kid, and I'm like, eh. It's of course, my parents were fairly permissive, so I saw a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't have. But in terms of, her coming down the stairs in that crab position and saying you're all gonna die up there and peeing, I was like,
and peeing? Did she pee?
She pees. She walks down the stairs and they're like, honey, you should be upstairs. And she's like, you're all gonna die up there, and she just pees on the carpet. And then it wasn't until a few years later that I saw the uncut version where she does a back bend and she crabs down the stairs. Like they had a second version of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing about those movies is, especially during the 70s, like with Apocalypse Now and The Exorcist, is you see these movies called The Heart of Darkness, or these supplementary movies where they talk about like all the curses. These, like in that movie, The Curses, like these movies were apparently cursed with bad luck, like people getting hurt and all kinds of injuries and delays to production. Linda Blair was like seriously damaged from the making that movie, like mentally. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you've seen Exorcist, right? Like,
yeah, seen it.
So when the scene where the mom comes up and the bed's floating and she's like jamming a cross into herself, saying, you know, the sow is mine. Do you know what she did? I mean, come on. How could you be a young teenage girl and like be asked to do that and not be like, you know, to be a good actress, you had to get your mind in that headspace. Jesus Christ.
So I think that stuff is more scary because it's more based on kind of reality almost, rather than some chick cracking her back, turning around backwards and crawling down the stairs, pissing on herself.
Right. Well, I'm saying like that was the scarier part of the movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what else was scary to people? When she was going into the hospital and they were doing the EEGs, like they put the needle in her neck,
yeah,
and they're doing like the machine going duh 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 duh, like early medical diagnostic stuff. Some people are more afraid that they'd rather die than have themselves put to that, you know, the tests. And honestly, the testing didn't actually show anything. So okay.
So the dude said, he said, "Don't believe the hype. Nobody was injured on the set of The Exorcist. It's all myth."
Yeah, I'm not saying that like anyone was. I'm just saying there's, you know, Heart of Darkness with, you know, Apocalypse Now. There are all kinds of stories, and the stories, you know, like all stories, there's some degree of something happened to instigate the whole, you know, as a kernel of truth. So whether or not, you know, I'm sure Linda Blair wasn't like injured or this and that, but for that time and for a girl of that age to be asked to do that, I mean, I don't know about you, but, you know, I know people that are Catholics and I understand about faith. I've read the Bible a lot, you know, and for me to be asked, I mean, there was one point in my life, I was in high school and Iron Maiden, The Number of the Beast came out, and I found myself walking around the house yelling, you know, saying 666, The Number of the Beast. Like, it was a great song. It was a catchy line. Then I'm like, well, what if this is real? I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm up here trying to like invoke the devil and shit. And yeah, I know, oh, well, you know, that's just, but you know what? You can say all that you want. No one knows everything. And until you pass a certain point, the veil of darkness exists, or the veil of whatever. So I'm not saying I believe or I don't believe or this or that, but you know what? Just because I've never stuck my finger in a light socket doesn't mean that I don't know that it would shock me.
This guy over here getting into religion over here. We're talking about 4K movies. You talk about religion.
Well, Poltergeist, yeah. Well, she had, you know.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
Well,
like Poltergeist and
that
Exorcist.
poor girl. That was a medical misdiagnosis, and I mean, she basically freaking. You want to talk about misdiagnosis? Let's talk about Frank Zappa, who was basically went to a doctor 3-4 times before they found his prostate cancer. By that time, it was stage 4. He was done. I mean, Heather was a sad turn of events. She had food allergies or something that basically killed her.
I don't know. I've never listened to Frank Zappa in my life. But let's wrap up 4K of
Hunter
Saw
Vex,
really quick.
The Omen. Yeah, baby. That, I mean, I'm not cheering on the abnormal, the supernatural stuff, but that to me is the scariest supernatural movie of all time. Yeah, the priest running through or it was a photographer running through the yard there, and the lightning, the rod getting struck and coming down and piercing him. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, it was a photographer, I think, was the one who was killed by that.
I don't think I saw that one. I don't think I saw that one.
You never saw The Omen?
No,
the original Omen, not the one that, like, back in 2015 or 16. That was the original Omen was really creepy, man. Really creepy. And then the whole story was like it's sort of in keeping with Revelations about, you know, the kid, and then the kid being basically adopted to a family that was very powerful and rich, and having access to, you know, all these things. And if you know Revelation, to talk about like, you know, basically sitting on a throne, and America at that point was, you know, the superpower of the world, and there were a lot of parallels to be made. But I've also heard about parallels to the, you know, the current house, the not the Plantagenets, but the current house sitting on a throne of England, and they're talking about the you know, the parallels to be made there with that house, and there's a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, you know, if you look really deep in things, there's a lot of tie-ins to a lot of things we're seeing today. To me, and this has always been a personal thing, was the in Revelations, there's a part where he says, you know, the people that are around will accept his mark. Well, so look at, in terms of like just what we're talking about today. Back in the day, it was like, well, his mark, you think, okay, he's going to stamp you. But now, look at all the things you're asked to accept without any kind of proof. I mean, your phone, your money, your identity, everything is like, you know, and then like so many people getting ink now, it's crazy. I mean, ink is cool. It's all good, but I'm like, you know, damn, I got a tattoo. What was that? What if that was a thing where like it's such a common thing, you know? I don't know. Speculation is fun. It won't be fun if we decide that, if we find out suddenly that, oh my God, it was real and it's not good.
Yeah, I never seen it. This came out the year I was born, 76.
You've never seen it?
Yeah,
Dude, we have to watch The Omen on your screen. So The Omen itself is really good, but like there's the Omen 2, where the I guess there's a Catholic priest sect that are trying to kill the kid, and there's a scene with these Rottweilers and Doberman Pinschers. I can't remember. It's a long time ago since I say it, but it's really creepy. Like every time after that, like, yeah, I don't want to own Doberman Pinschers ever, or Rottweilers ever.
Didn't see it. Spoiler alert. I didn't see it. But
Mr. Nobody 4K.
hold on, let's wrap up Saw really quick here.
Sorry, man.
Saw real quick. Saw in 4K.
Who is this guy? Spare change.
So I guess people don't know Bill. Like, if you guys are only here for 4K reviews and not equipment reviews, chances are you probably don't know who Bill is. So Bill is he helps me out doing the 2-channel stereo speaker reviews. So if you have zero interest in speaker reviews or amplifier reviews, receiver reviews, chances are you probably never ran across
But where
Bill.
did I start out? Where did I start out?
Bill did start off doing 4K reviews way back about 4 years ago.
Jesus,
Is it 4 years
it's been a
ago?
long time.
Yeah, it's like 4 years now. But you know, just to streamline the workflow, editing just myself, I had to omit several people from my 4K reviews. And Bill is collateral damage, so is Elias, and so was some other people. So if you guys are interested in checking more Bill out, he's going to start his own YouTube channel soon. And also, if you see my videos pop up with speakers, Bill's also there as well. So check those out if you guys have not seen that. But
my spare change channel is gonna be more like for older people, or actually for anybody. But like, imagine, you know, someone who's completely technically in a mess, trying to let's say update his Marantz amplifier, and like hooking things up and getting tangled in the cords and hanging from the ceiling saying, "Yo, someone help."
you'll be good. I'm sure you'll be good. Editing video is not that hard. Not that hard. But yeah, so check out check out the Saw 4K review. Audio is awesome on it. That's one good thing about these horror movies, that surround sound is really good on these things, because I mean it's nothing but like creepy sounds and stuff like that, little creaks and groans and stuff like that in the surround speakers.
You know, I never thought about that. The one thing that, like, if you like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, the one thing that can like really, really be increased and be better at is sound. Because sound is like so much creepier than visual a lot of times. Like the sound is what really, really gets you.
And the Saw stands out. And if you guys saw the review, you can see all the objects and the surround effects floating around the room, which I think I mentioned it when I was watching Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was listening to the new Atmos remix on that. And that is just like any other like Disney mix, where the surround doesn't really move around the room. Well, it doesn't move around the room at all. Spoiler alert. Still, you know, it's Indiana Jones. It's a classic movie. You know, it's got the score.
It's absolutely.
Like it sounds good. Like it's theatrical and cinematic sounding. So that's, I guess that's a positive. But so if you guys want to pick up Saw in 4K, watch the video. Click on the links down below on Amazon, Best Buy, what have you. Pick it up there.
Let me ask you a question before you sign off. Have they done a remake of, like, say, Friday the 13th?
Yeah.
But did the audio, like the ta 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 ta, all that little background, like his breathing and his little things they do, like I unfortunately never saw that. Like,
what do you got? They got the other remake with Haley Joel Osment or something like that.
Oh shit!
No,
all right.
Osment? No, Jackie Earl Haley. Here we go.
Jackie Earl Haley. Oh yeah. That's right.
Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched it that long ago on HBO Max. It's not a bad movie. Came out in 2010.
No, not Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sorry. Friday the 13th.
No.
With, you know, Jason, the sound like ta 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 ta.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Kill. Like that would be like crazy on today's soundstage. Like to be in the theater. And just to put a shout out, like speaking of sound, sorry, I just thought of this. A Quiet Place 2 comes out, and I don't know if you guys saw A Quiet Place originally in the theater, but that was probably the most oppressive movie I've ever seen in the theater, because you could have heard a squirrel fart. I mean, it was crazy quiet. Like, I've never been in a movie, and usually I'm the guy in the movie, hey, shut up, idiot, turn your phone off. But I was in that movie theater, and it was quiet as the crypt, bro. It was crazy quiet.
Yeah, no Friday the 13th of 4K. I don't even know if they're gonna do that. I mean, if they do, if it's out, then I have not seen it. I mean, all the other ones like Jason in Space. I don't think anybody wants to see
Speaking of
that.
trash, oh my god, that was the worst. But I mean, they were like beyond just some of the effects were just really, you know, over the top. But the sound, like the sound of the sound effects, were just among the creepiest of all time. And I'm sorry, but my Phantasm, you know, okay, good movie, it was all right, creepy, but the movie, the line that has stayed with me longer than any single horror movie line of all time was at the very end. If you haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler alert, but the kid steps in his bedroom and he closes his door, and on the back of his door is a full-length mirror, and the guy, the tall man, is hanging there, and he says, "Boy," and he drags him to hell. And it's crazy.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't think I've seen that one.
Really, Hunter Vex?
What? But yo, check out Saw in 4K. Amazing Atmos, really good Atmos. I think I gave it like an 8.8 or something like that. 8.6, 8.8. I don't even know. But speaking about surround sound, the other movie that this is a good topic here, because I know Bill's familiar with it too, because he's been in my house many times. So I did the review on Edge of Tomorrow on 4K, which Edge of Tomorrow is only available on Movies Anywhere, Vudu, and on the Kaleidescape. It's not on physical media yet. And Edge of Tomorrow came out in 2014. You saw it, right?
Yeah, hell
Once,
yeah.
twice. This is one of my reference movies. Like, somebody always asks me, hey, what are the movies that you always watch all the time? Like, this is one of those movies. especially if you watch the subwoofer reviews. I always end my subwoofer reviews with that movie because the bass is so extravagant in the first 7 seconds, 10 seconds, and that movie with the Atmos mix. I mean, if you saw the 4K of it on digital, then you know it's pretty darn good looking. As far as like the Atmos, I mean, it's really active. I mean, you can see in my review that there's a bunch of stuff floating around the air. The yellow balls, yellow, best color, floating around the room.
When we started this, he didn't have that tool. That was a recent addition.
I don't think many people, like, if you guys don't know what that graph is that I'm showing, there is a separate video that I typically usually link at the end of each video, or I'll leave it in the description somewhere that you can find out what that even means. For some reason, I think most of the people that watch 4K reviews, like, they don't care about audio. I feel.
No, they're saying, is my TV doing a good enough job of reproducing this?
I can tell that most people, they give up at because you can check the analytics and when people click off the video, it usually starts every time I say audio isn't Dolby Atmos. Click. So it's always like they're just interested in like video.
I don't know about Reginald Boyd, but he's like, keep him away from 4K movies. I started a 4K movie review for him, both for the sound and the audio video quality, the transfer. Most people at this point don't have Atmos. They don't have a Trinov. They don't have these things that can give them the adequate separation. They're dealing with a 3.1, a 5.1, maybe some extra wide surrounds because, they can't put speakers in their ceilings. And they don't, I hate to say this, and this is from personal experience, they don't know how to properly set their amps up for proper, Atmos sound. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's people. I think most of the guys that come here check out my 4K reviews. At least I know that I know like most of them are just interested in the video part. Which what I need to do. I need to kick off. Usually I start off the reviews talking about the video first and then the audio. I need to like reverse it and start off with the audio.
You have to. I had to say this. Now this is one of the things that like me as in my particular line of work at this point. The biggest thing is talking to people about the audio. Like they're like, oh, I wanted this and I want that. And it's like, okay, let me ask you a question. Jaws. Do you remember the scenes with the shark more? Or do you remember dun-dun, 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 dun, or with Rocky or with Vader's March? You remember the sound before you have the visual. Because as animals, smell is the most strong. Audio is the second, and video is the last because that's a sense that developed the least.
Yeah.
So, for the most, let's say, the strongest impact is audio, and unfortunately, people don't realize that.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think most folks, they always just overlook the audio. Like, I think that's why like TVs are so popular. Like you look at people that do TV reviews, they get so many views on it.
Yeah.
But
because people are tied into, they're all about the visual, and they don't realize how strong the audio is. But I think that a lot of times, right, at least right now with Samsung, and I know with Sony, they're listening. They're tied into the audio, like because you had Sony come up with the acoustic surface technology, right?
Yeah, but still, that don't count though.
Well, no, but before that, for the 930E, when that came out in 2017, that had the best sound system of any TV. Like that 55-inch TV weighed 55 pounds because of the speakers and the power in it. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, people watch for TVs. They're like, oh, I'll get a sound bar, this and that. The manufacturers are listening to a degree, but the problem is that the people want that thin aesthetic. They want lightweight. So it's like, look, you can't until they come with a new sound technology. I mean, maybe if they put Martin Logan sound technology in the speakers where it was light and came with a sub, But until they change that, you're going to get middling sound at the best out of TVs. And if you want a really full experience, you have to buy a decent quality TV. Well, this is what we do at my place is instead of like recommending you get the most high expensive, like the most high priced TV, get a decent TV, but save money for sound.
Yep. I think that's why sound bars are so popular nowadays. Well, are they? Are sound bars really that popular? Because, like I said, I know when people click off my videos, it's always when I talk about sound for some terrible reason.
Sound bars are popular now because they're convenient, they're easier to set up, they're easier to use, and they're cheaper.
That is true. I mean, guys, that's why I'm here, man. I try to talk about audio as much as possible. That's why me and Bill are here. You know, we talk about 2-channel stereo and stuff like that. I like to talk about stereo, subwoofers, and speakers, and home theater stuff. And
When he's not talking about porn.
when I'm not talking about porn, that's on the other channel. It's on the other channel. But definitely, man, it's kind of sad because I can see my videos are usually only like 4 minutes long, maybe 5 minutes max, and then I can tell at the 2-minute, 45-minute mark, people just click off. They on the analytics, it's just like bloop. I'm like, dude, I was like, you guys always drop off at the audio part. Like, why? Why would you only care about video? That's like, I don't get it. It's so sad.
It's just, I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just a matter of the fact that you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know how big a part an audio plays. Because, honestly, when you buy a theater for a movie ticket, you don't buy it for the sound. You don't even care about the sound. Like, you like to see it on a big screen. You don't really realize how big a part the audio plays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I tell people, like, think about these movies without the sound, and they stop and actually think about it, like, oh wow, yeah, 'cause like Jaws, who cares without the Jaws soundtrack? Or
You know what they say when you go check out a movie or whatever, it's sound is 50% the experience.
at least.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I tell people, like, hey, did you ever see Rocky? I'm like, yeah. Well, imagine Rocky running through the streets of Philadelphia without Gonna Fly Now playing.
Yeah.
He's like some crazy Italian in a fucking sweatsuit running through the city. Who cares? Get him out of it. He's a nuisance. Get him off the street.
We went off on a little tangent there.
Yeah.
I think we're talking about Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah. I called it popular video.
Great movie.
Great movie too. Popular video. I mean, I got about 16,000 views on it. So I mean, I got a lot of flack for it because I put down Edge of Tomorrow 4K 3D glasses, 3D Blu-ray review, and then people were like, "Oh, dude, that's clickbait title." I was like, "Why is it a clickbait title?"
Clickbait?
Yeah, because they thought it was a 4K Blu-ray review, which I didn't write down 4K Blu-ray. I just wrote down Edge of Tomorrow 4K / 3D Blu-ray review, which I did talk about the 3D Blu-ray. I just didn't say 4K
Jesus
Blu-ray.
Christ, what
I just
clickbait?
said
Try to
4K.
read any news review on Yahoo or Google. What was it? We just had that little thing about Emily Blunt Scarlett. Yeah, about Black Widow
Yeah. Emily Blunt is, I guess
versus
Emily.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I guess Emily Blunt turned down the Black Widow role because she was in Gulliver's Travels with Jack Black.
Oh my God, what a big mistake!
That was a bad move. That was a bad move.
Bad move.
Very bad move. But yeah, anyways, check out that review, Edge of Tomorrow in 4K. It's on the Kaleidescape, also on Vudu. Amazing Atmos sound, amazing bass in the beginning, first 20 seconds. With the airplanes and stuff flying around at the beginning on the... Wait, are they fighting on the beach? It's on the sand, right? Or in the desert? No, it's on the beach. I think it's on the beach.
Yeah, beach.
Yeah, it's on the beach. All those scenes, man, amazing.
It's kind of like they try to act like D-Day because they're attacking Europe.
Yeah. It's like World War II almost.
Yeah.
I think that's why the visual aesthetic was kind of like... it's got that brownish tone, like...
That's
Saving
very
Private
kind
Ryan
of
and all
like
that.
like Saving Private Ryan sort of, that very kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember when the sand was kind of blowing up in the air and all that shit like that with the explosions? Kind of like Saving Private
And meanwhile,
Ryan.
he's running in terror before he gets killed.
Great movie. The first time I saw it, I was like, did they just kill Tom Cruise? I was like,
Like right at the beginning. Holy shit. So I don't know who Snoots is, but it says see Tenet in IMAX and try to imagine that audio not being part of the. Yeah, Tenet. Another really, I don't know. Christopher Nolan movies, man. That guy has a complete package. I've never seen a movie of his that isn't both visually and stunning from the audio perspective. He does a great job both ways, I think.
And he does it only with 5 speakers. He doesn't even do Atmos. Sadly.
I don't know. Inception
Sadly,
sounded
man.
fantastic, man.
It did. It did sound really good. Inception, Interstellar sounded really good too.
Yeah. Why does he use Atmos? The
I
hell?
don't know. Who knows? It's one of his things. One of his proclivities, I guess. He's just like, I'm not gonna do Atmos. I'm just gonna do 5.1. But another thing about that, but hold on, definitely pick up. I know there's a lot of people that get a little upset about when we do digital reviews because it's not on plastic on discs. They're like, I can't support digital because you don't own it. Blah 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 blah. How about you don't? How about you just enjoy movies and not enjoy plastic? How about enjoy the movies that you watch? Support your movies. Without giving companies movies, these studios movies, we don't get more movies. You know what I'm saying?
We're gonna have to support them either way. Either
Yeah.
buy the hard copy comes out, pay for the digital copy, whatever. But yeah, I mean,
Like I get it. Like people are like, yeah, you don't own the movies, blah 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 blah. I mean, honestly, what are the odds of really your movie disappearing all of a sudden? Especially if you buy is Apple going to disappear anytime soon if you buy it on iTunes?
hell no.
Apple's not going anywhere, guys. Just like I don't think physical media is going anywhere. It's just a different avenue to enjoy the movies that you like.
Physical media is not going anywhere. I think what's going on is 2020 provided a great test platform for an entire year in a real life situation where they could take stuff offline and beam it to your houses directly. I don't think that's going to alter in terms of the fact that they're not going to stop supporting physical media, because physical media
Yeah.
in the long term, unless you have a really, really super high end digital feed and digital processor, high end, the best signal is going to come from a hardwired like Xbox or player to your TV to your home theater system. I can see them stop supporting DVD. I can also maybe imagine them stop supporting just regular Blu-ray over time.
DVD's still like #1 selling physical
DVD?
Yeah, it still
Really?
outsells Blu-ray. It's always like over.
But it's so trash.
I think DVD's like in the 70 percentile, and I think Blu-ray's like.
What are they gonna?
in
So
the
vinyl comes
30
back. They're gonna bring
percentile.
VCRs back too. I mean, what the hell?
That's what people do. I mean, DVDs are on like $70 or something like that. So people buy that based on price, I guess.
No, I don't know. It's not like I work in the industry or anything. Sometimes I don't understand people's buying patterns and why they buy certain things, because, DVD sucks. Get a Blu-ray player, for fuck's sake.
People, like my sister buys Blu-rays or DVDs. My sister buys DVD. Like Amanda buys DVDs all the time.
But why?
I used to be like, I said, why are you always buying DVDs for? I was like, the Blu-ray is $1 more. Why would you not buy the Blu-ray? She's like, well, my collection is in these bigger black cases, and the Blu-rays are in the smaller blue cases, so like it doesn't matter. I was like, come on, dude. I said, you got a 4K TV.
That is just okay. You know what?
Alright,
I guess if you need a reason for something, I guess that's
it,
as good as anybody else. But Jesus,
I think if they drop the price of 4K Blu-rays to the price of DVDs, then forget it. It's game over.
well, I think
they win.
if they stop producing DVDs,
Yeah,
then they
that
could afford to drop the price of, because I mean, if you're a company, you're producing all three, media. Christ, it makes no sense. Just okay. Look, I'm a person who's getting older. I have to explain all the time to older people why they can't get VCRs anymore. So it would not be any bother to me at all to explain to them why they can no longer watch DVDs. Buy a Blu-ray player. It'll play your DVDs and your Blu-rays. Buy a 4K Blu-ray player. Better yet, it'll play all that shit. Just, it's a waste of resources. It's a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fucking waste. Pardon my French.
People don't get it. They're just like, people like, most people base their purchases on like, obviously, how much it costs. Like, it doesn't matter how good the quality is. It's like, whatever's the cheapest, I
Yeah.
can get away with it.
But yeah, people are like, oh, I just want someone to play my DVDs. Like, well, guess what? This will play your DVDs, but this will play your DVDs and Blu-rays. Say in that rare case where you want to go to the library or to the Red Box and maybe get a movie and it's not available in this format, it'll be available in that format. Well, okay. Like, it's harder to learn or hard to program, or it's like, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm done talking to you. Here's this. Take it. Go. Have a nice day.
But back to digital. Or my bad. But it's not really. Is it really digital? I guess it kind of is digital.
They're all still digital.
Yeah, everything is digital. But back to like physical media versus like back to the Edge of Tomorrow, rather. Back to Edge of Tomorrow.
I keep pulling you away.
Back to Edge of Tomorrow. Since I reviewed on the Kaleidescape, people were just like, Kaleidescape is so expensive. Why can't I ever fucking get it?
It's fucking cool though.
It is very cool. But I also put up the option that you can get on digital. But there's always like so much hate on the Kaleidescape. And then right after that video, I put up a little 5-minute clip that I took with the Kaleidescape people I did, I don't know, like 6 months ago. Just because I thought just because I know it's going to get a lot of hate comments on it every time I put up a Kaleidescape videos. Like you guys out there, I get so much hate on these Kaleidescape videos. It's not even funny. I think I even got into something. I even got into something with another fucking commenter. We went back and forth like the entire day, where he was just trying to just debunk Kaleidescape. And I was like, yo, listen, I said these guys get the actual the mezzanine. They call it the mezzanine file. Kind of like when we're shooting, and I take that file from the camera,
The raw file.
Yeah, the raw file, and I do little edits on it, but I put very minimal compression to it. And
It's
then
like a first stage edit.
yeah, and then I give you it. I was like, yo, put this on your Instagram, but obviously you can't put like an 11 gig video on Instagram. You're gonna have to shrink it down to like maybe a couple hundred megs. So they have access to this main file, and dudes are like, oh my god, it doesn't even matter. 4K Blu-ray is so much better. Why would you fucking waste your money? Blah blah blah. And is it worth 20 times more, 25 times more than like physical media? I was like, yo, everything's all fucking relevant, man. It's like, what is worth $200 to you? I might think $9,000 is worth it for me. Or $6,000 might be worth it.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, listen, if I work hard enough and I'm like, yo, $9,000 is like $200 to you. Whereas $9,000 to you might be like, fuck, that might be like a 2 years worth of salary for you.
Dude, I'll tell you guys, I give you guys a break, all right? So I hang out with Shane and I see the stuff he's got, and it floors me. Like every time I come, he's like, you got a new piece, or he's got this and that, and it blows me away. Like Kaleidescape, it's awesome. Could I afford it? Are you fucking kidding me? If I could afford that, why the fuck would I be helping him out? I'd be doing my own shit. But you know, he knows what he's doing. He's got his.
It's a niche. It's a niche.
Yeah,
it's a niche product. All right. It's not. Everybody always says this is not for the average person. No, it's not.
It's not, man.
It is not for the average person. If you are an average person, it is not for you. Am I an average person? Probably not. It's probably for somebody like me.
This freaking guy, I remember the first time he comes, like, I was asking him about his file server for his movies. I'm like, so how big's your file server? He's like, I got like 47 terabytes. I'm like, what? They're like friggin' like movie studios that don't have like things that can render as fast as his shit. He's like, and does the government like, send you missile targeting data when they're like not busy?
But dude, I love it because there's so much hate on it. There's just like, why the F would I buy the Kaleidescape for $969K when I could just buy the Blu-ray? I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. That works for you. That's fine. I
have one thing to say to that. Okay, so with that mindset, why would I buy a Honda Civic when I can afford, I don't know, a McLaren or a Ferrari?
Uh-huh. I use that as well. I was like, listen, I said the Kaleidescape is like the Ferrari of media players. Like if you could afford a Ferrari, why would you not buy the Ferrari? Why would you go buy a Honda? Well, because the Ferrari uses X parts, which are used to achieve the performance that people are expected of the Ferrari. Which, let's face it, man, how many Teslas have beaten Ferraris before? Are you going to tell me the Tesla, with its cheaper quality parts, can't perform as well as a Ferrari with its more expensive parts? But there's this dude is giving me justification that yes, a Ferrari is worth six figures over the Honda Accord, over the Tesla. Like, why would you not spend $40,000 if you can go from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds? Whereas the Ferrari might cost you 0 to 60 six figures. It might go 0 to 60 in like 6 seconds or something like that. So I mean, like, price. So like price and performance. In that particular case, I'm like, yo, dude. If you have the means to enjoy a Ferrari, why would you not enjoy the Ferrari? If you got the means to enjoy a Kaleidescape, why would you not enjoy the Kaleidescape? Different use case scenarios for different people, for different income brackets. If you can only afford a Blu-ray player, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a Blu-ray player, but that doesn't mean you have to shit on the Kaleidescape. Just because you can only afford a Honda doesn't mean you got to shit on the Ferrari. What's the point of that? There's markets for each one. Just because the Ferrari isn't marketed for the average person doesn't mean it's going to go out of business. Just because the Kaleidescape isn't marketed for the average person doesn't mean it's going to go out of business, even though it kind of did once, really, for a couple days. But they recouped, they came back, and now they're stronger than ever. So, I mean, it's like, I hate reading the comments and saying, like, listen, this is not worth it. I get the comments all the time, like, yo, Shane, this is not worth it. Like who's to say, like, product X is not worth it over product Z? You know what I mean? Like I hate it when people put value on something. Like, this is definitely not worth that to you, but it might be worth something for me.
Value is very subjective. I mean, look, all right, so I've been friends with Shane for a number of years now, and like, he is not one of these guys like, hey, look at my new stuff and like all that. He likes what he likes, and he wants the best quality. Like, when he talks about his movies, his like projector and his file server and his sound system, he's not like trying to, like, you know, buy something better than you have. He's trying to buy the best there is because he wants to have the best experience. With some people, it's about, like, you know, the same thing with cars. It's like the fastest car, the this, the that, the best experience. And for some people, there's a cost to benefit ratio. Like, for me personally, would I have all the same stuff Shane has? Probably not. I mean, if I could afford it, maybe. I often thought this: if I ever win the lottery, Shane is going to be the guy that sets up my house, my theater, my stereo, all that, because he has probably the most knowledgeable person, maybe besides JB, of anyone I know. But generally speaking, like, on a regular kind of, you know, year-to-year salary, no, only because I don't need, for my personal satisfaction of watching TV, I have two OLEDs. They're great. Do I need a 126-inch screen? Do I need a Trinnov 16 or 32? No. You know why? Because for me, it's not worth the money. But there are people out there, and Shane is one of them, where that makes a difference to them. So, you know, if you're watching his channel, he can help you with both, you know, and the stuff that he puts out there is useful for any level of knowledge and any level of interest and pursuit. But like you're saying, like, well, you know, is this worth it to him? Well, you know what? The Kaleidescape is worth it to him because it does give the best possible resolution, the best file storage, you know, for what he is trying to get. Is that better than, say, another, you know, let's say a Microsoft-based storage system or what have you? For the average person, maybe so. But, you know, the average person doesn't drive an F1.
The person that's got the F1 probably has a Kaleidescape. The person who's got the Honda probably has a Plex server. So
yeah, it's not about the money. It's about the level of skill of that pursuit.
And that's what it comes down to. I mean, value for a person. I mean, I love it every time I put up a Kaleidescape video because there's always just gonna be so much hate on it. And typically, I know most of the guys in this chat. No, I normally don't respond to comments because there's so much stupidness that goes on in the comment section. But
I'm sorry. I'm seeing some of the stuff about like Kaleidescape. If you have $50,000, guess what? You don't have to have $50,000 for a Kaleidescape.
this guy said, "Why would you buy a Rolex when I can buy a $30 watch that both do the same thing? Tell time."
They don't do the same thing. They don't.
Here's the difference. Well, here's the difference between the two.
They both roll.
I
They
have
tires.
I got a bunch. I got a. If you hate my life in audio, you're gonna hate my life more in watches.
His watch collection is ridiculous.
You're gonna hate that. If you watch my videos, you know I usually got a different watch all the time. But I mean, there's the Timex. Did you say Timex? There's a Timex, which is like a mass-produced type of watch, which is made on like an assembly line, and there's handmade parts by individuals that hand polish them, hand cut them, and put them together with little tiny screws and little microscopes, and it's all like handcrafted. There's like a bazillion parts in a watch, and it's all like what's the word I'm looking for?
Precise, accuracy, precision.
That what happens when you like make shit yourself? What's that word? It's like handcrafted,
Right.
rather than like machine crafted. There's a lot of skill. You know how hard it is to like make a watch?
Well,
tell
if you,
time.
If you've seen
accurately?
Ford versus Ferrari, right? It's like the executive for Ford is saying we spend more on toilet paper every year than Ferrari does on its all things. Yeah, but Ferraris and Lee Iacocca
quality.
comes back and says, but Ferrari will be rated will forever be remembered as like the best car maker of all time.
Yeah.
Why? Because his cars represent victory. They represent like championships. It's about the craftsmanship in any particular
That's
thing.
Craftsmanship. There's craftsmanship that goes into a Rolex. There's craftsmanship that goes into like an Omega, or like anything else except or a Panerai, Jaeger. There's craftsmanship. It's not like a mass-produced product. That's why you pay a lot for these. Plus, let's face it, there's status as well. You're paying for the status to have a Rolex, but it is the craftsmanship that goes into a Rolex or any kind of like a premium timepiece, not a watch. Timex, that's a watch. You get a Rolex, you're investing in a timepiece, and these pieces, if you have a good one, they will actually go up in value. The only audio gear that I would say is equivalent to like a Rolex would have to be a Macintosh.
Yeah.
That's a product that typically holds its value through time. Sometimes people will pay more over time if it's really good.
Look,
that's the only piece of audio equipment that I
after
can
reading
think
some
of.
of the comments, I have to say this. Okay, look, I will be the first one to tell you I cannot afford a Rolex any more than I can afford a Ferrari or a Macintosh or a Kaleidescape. All right. All that being said, don't denigrate those brands. They are where they are, and they get what they get for their products for a reason. They, someone who gets thousands of dollars for a Rolex or thousands of dollars for a particular, let's say, a car or speakers. I mean, I've seen speakers that have cost $500,000 a pair. Yes, it is what the market will support, but also these things are not made on some manufactured line somewhere. They are handcrafted, hand assembled. They represent an actual human being's time putting them together, which is great. Now you're saying, well, does that person's time, is that worth this much money? Well, I don't know. To some people it is.
Uh-huh.
But just because you can't particularly afford something doesn't mean that thing isn't worth what they ask for it. And I'm not trying to be a dick. I can't afford any of this shit. I enjoy it because Shane has it and I get the chance to listen to it. It's fun for me. And even if I didn't have it, I'd still hang out with him because he's a cool fucking dude. But regardless, it's like,
I think that's where most of the hate comes from. Like, let's not say that everybody can afford, like a Kaleidescape or a Rolex.
A lot
or
of people
Ferrari.
can't.
The majority of people can't.
I didn't know what a fucking Kaleidescape was until you told me.
And I think those people are the ones that are the most vocal because they can't see value in it. And that's not the right attitude to have. Like, if you can't, I'm not saying everybody, because there are some people that can afford it and that truly don't see the value in it, which is fine. I can't see the value in like $10 taking a vacation when I could buy a Kaleidescape. I'd rather buy a Kaleidescape than going on vacation. Like, to me, going on vacation is a waste of time. I'd rather buy a Kaleidescape. But I can see like where you can be like, yo, I think it's I'd rather buy a 4K Blu-ray player than a Kaleidescape. I can't see the value in it because it's 30 times more money than a Blu-ray player.
Yeah. I want to say
and I know for a fact that 90% of those people cannot afford that Kaleidescape, and I know that's why they're saying it. And
I'm gonna say this to Jen. All right, love my Rolex, but I wear my G-Shock and Seiko more, bro or girl. I don't know who, like my friend, whoever you are. My G-Shock took me all over the world. I was riding my motorcycle. I had a motorcycle accident. It tore my oh my God, not my Rolex. My tag. It tore my tag off my wrist and destroyed the bezel. And when I sent it back to tag, they didn't want to know me. I'm like, okay, fuck expensive watches. I wore my G-Shock. My G-Shock literally took me all over the world. Best watch I've ever owned, hands down.
that's what we call as a beater watch in the watch collecting world.
Dude,
like,
you can beat the shit out of that thing. Like, unless it takes your arm off.
you don't feel bad if you beat the hell out of it.
Nah.
Like, you know, listen, if I was a millionaire and I had a collection of Rolexes, I probably wouldn't care either. But you really don't care about your Timex watch, so it's called the beater
A
watch.
Timex? Yeah, my aunt sent me this to me. It's like, it's nice. It's cool. It's like, but if it gets broken, I go, fuck.
It's a beater, just like if I had a Ferrari and I had a Honda, my Honda's my beater. And chances are I probably drive my Honda more than I would my
Dude,
Ferrari.
I'll fucking take my Honda, run into a wall to get rims for my fucking Ferrari. Just
So-
saying. Sorry for all you Honda people out there.
Nothing wrong with Honda. Yo, you should have a Honda too, and an Acura. But like I said, man, yo, the Kaleidescape is such a divisive product. It really is in the audio world. People either love it or they hate it. The people that own it, they love it. The people have never used it, have only seen it in Magnolia, have only seen it in videos. They don't really understand what it does. And if you're saying you do understand what it does, you have never used it for yourself in your own home. I know that too.
Let me say this about Kaleidescape. So the coolest thing, one of the coolest things I ever saw was, imagine Kaleidescape being the jukebox of movies. Like literally, I sat down and Shane was like, blip, 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 blip. I'm like, well, shit. That's like going to a movie theater and like putting a dollar in the thing and saying A3, boom, done. It was so simple, and the movie quality was so good, and the audio quality was so good. I mean, there's a reason it's not just a file server. It's not just this. It's a much more, let's say, well-rounded product in terms of sound and video.
Yeah, it just works. I get it. People are like, I'd rather just wake up and get up and put my disc in the machine. That's cool.
No, that is cool.
ain't nothing wrong
That's
with that.
me. I mean,
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
I told Shane, like, I had been doing nothing but streaming on my OLED for years, right? For a couple of years, and then I happened to be given a bunch of 4K actual discs, and the first thing I watched was The Martian in 4K, and I was like, I was stunned at how much better the physical media was.
Yeah.
And I will say this: it wasn't that I never thought about it; it was just convenient to stream.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it is, convenience.
But when I saw the actual hard copy, I'm like, damn, that looks so much better. But then Shane said, well, check out this Kaleidescape. I'm like, I hate you. He's like, no physical media, a thin little thing, no big space for storing all my stuff. I mean, yeah, it cost a bit, but
That's
damn.
Now, don't get me wrong. The Kaleidescape is pretty freaking expensive. Can I say that I
You think?
Can I say that I do believe that the cost is worth the performance? I mean, that is a hard sell, and I don't think you've ever heard me say that. Yes, I think this is definitely worth the $9,000.
Okay, I will say this. Pardon me for interrupting. To you, it's worth the $9,000 because you have a rack system. All your stuff fits nice and neat in that particular aesthetic that you have. It's, for me, it's, dude, $9,000. How many discs is that? How many discs? That's a big library. I
That is
mean,
a lot of money.
but
There's no doubt about it.
but here's the thing: at $9,000, you can store just about an infinite amount of discs.
Not infinite.
Well,
Few hundred.
what's your storage space? Like how many?
Only got 12.
12 terabytes, right?
Yeah.
Now, the average
Still,
disc,
that's a lot of movies.
the average 4K disc being what, 5 or 7 megabytes? Not
No.
gigabytes?
No, they're bigger than that. They're like 100 gigs.
Really, 100 gigs?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Sorry, I'm just used to using. I'm looking at streaming files. I'm like, but so, well, shit.
I mean,
so
it's
for
expensive.
$9,000 at say $22 a disc, right, for a 4K disc.
It's an expensive proposition. I mean, some of these guys have like $2,000, $4,000 disc collections. So, like
Jesus Christ.
for that person, that's a lot of fucking money. Like if you're going to transfer everything over to the Cloudscape, but I don't think anybody that has like
Jesus Christ, 22,000, like $22 a disc at say $22 a disc, and they have like 4,000, 2,000 discs.
nobody's buying the Kaleidescape and then rebuying all their movies on the Kaleidescape. I mean,
They're
if you do
just
that,
transferring.
yeah, no, they're just not doing that.
Oh.
You got to rebuy
Just
everything
getting like
again.
new stuff.
Yeah, just I would say get new stuff and put it on there,
Christ, what an expense!
like a companion piece.
Sorry if I sound like such a rube. I'm like, I've never really, other than when I'm not talking to Shane, I don't really consider a lot of this stuff because I don't have a Kaleidescape.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's expensive. It's expensive as hell. Don't get me wrong. Listen, if I wasn't on YouTube making these videos, I probably would not have one myself. But luckily, I am, so I do have one.
The
If
thing
I wasn't on YouTube, I probably wouldn't have a Trade-off as well. If I wasn't on YouTube, I probably wouldn't have a Macintosh. It's like,
no, I mean,
I would have an AVR prop most likely, or like a sound bar.
Shane does a great job of this, like, portraying the stuff. He uses it. He brings this, like, he brings the experience to you guys. Everything he has is used, and it's for a purpose to kind of share with you. And these people, because he does a good job, he's a great guy. He knows what he's talking about. He's like probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. And this cat, he knows what he's talking about. And for his recommendation, like I said, if I won, the biggest lottery there is, I wouldn't go to Hollywood. I would go to Shane and say, "Hey, man, show me what's up," because this cat knows it, man. It's just like he's so good at it. The people that subscribe to his Patreon and his regular channel, you don't know what you got here, man. This cat knows his stuff, and it is what it is.
This guy's trying to give me compliments over here. but yeah, man, I love it. I love a good Kaleidescape video. I love a good video with anything over $1,000.
Yeah, well, I mean, because you know why you love anything over $1,000?
Because I'm gonna see all the people that are like, oh, I can build that myself.
Raw.
Yeah.
All right, so he's like, I know hardworking guys that live mildly but have the nicest hot rods and bikes. They live for it. To each his own. If someone wants to buy a $100 audio product or 50,000 KPs, yeah, exactly. I mean, it comes down to and what I think Reggie or Keep Up the Joneses said earlier about values. I mean, it's not about like, do I value this product more than my family or something of higher value, but it's like, well, do I value having a high-end audio theater system more so than like buying an expensive car or more so? Yeah, it's like it's what you do, like with your time, like what your thing is. Like with my thing, I watch movies, I play video games. Like video and audio to me is like the stuff. I have a huge music library, but I love watching, like recently my friends that I work with, I worked with a bunch of younger cats, and they got me into like anime stuff.
Yeah, read that.
And
Andrew's part of my Patreon, by the way. Go ahead, read that.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it's true. It is.
Well, okay, you gotta read
I mean, it's well out of my budget.
You gotta read it. You gotta read it.
What's that?
You gotta read it.
I'm sure you don't pay retail, Shane, but I appreciate your reviews and your point of view. Just out of Andrew.
Here it is. It's out of most people's budgets.
Most.
Listen, I'm not. If I'm reviewing something expensive and it's not in your budget, it is not for you. It is for the people's budgets that can afford it, and they're going to come to my channel and watch that video. Just because it's not for you, I take these comments as like being a bully. Like, you are a bully. If you want to be a bully just because you don't think it's good enough for you or the masses, that's kind of like saying, listen, I don't like you because I'm Asian and you're white. Like, I feel like that's being a bully. Like, why would you bully the people that can afford it and talking down upon it? That's kind of like a bullying comment. And that usually those are the only type of comments I typically respond to, because I'm like, listen, just because you don't think it's worth it, don't make other people feel bad and try to denigrate it because they can afford it. That's the wrong attitude to have.
Well, no, I don't think he was taking it like, okay, so that's your point. I don't think he was taking it as a bully. I think he was saying that, you know, he appreciates your reviews, but for most people, you know, they can't afford the stuff you do review. Well, here's the thing. His channel, his reviews, the stuff he goes into is not, he's not an exclusive guy. He's not trying to exclude anybody. Well, I know you can't afford this, but this is what I'm reviewing anyway. Look, man, you know, no one says, hey, Road and Track or hey, Motor Trend, don't publish your magazines because we can't afford the Ferraris and the Lamborghinis and the Audis and all this high-end stuff. It's like you walk by a newsstand, you see it's like, wow, it's like this is fuel for your imagination. It's fuel for your dreams. It's like for some people it motivates them to do better their job, or to like, hey, look, I've aspired to this thing and I've reached this level at my home theater. How do I take it to the next level? Shane is there to tell you how to take that shit to the next level.
If you don't want to go to the next level, listen, just stay over there. I don't want to.
And you can still watch Shane's channel and enjoy what he shows. Just because he's showing this shit doesn't mean you have to buy this. What he's showing you doesn't. You don't have to have this shit to have a good home theater, because guess what? We said this before. If you have this and you have the other audio thing and you have that, and that's good enough for you, then it's good enough for you. He's not telling anyone here that their shit isn't good enough. He's saying, this is what we're reviewing today. And this is why, like, if you want to get into this, this is why it's worth the money. He's not denigrating anyone or downplaying or bashing anyone for not having what he has.
And I do review affordable stuff for a lot of people. I try to review. I know this might sound like it's coming down on me, but I'm really sticking up for like Kaleidescape and expensive products. But I do review affordable stuff. I review receivers and cheaper or affordable amplifiers, and also higher end stuff. So it's like I do try to review something for every budget. The funny thing is, if you go into the budget reviews, nobody really talks shit about them. You go over to the expensive stuff, all like 50% of the comments are always.
It's because you're
negative.
Because you're spending more money. They expect everything to be perfect. It's like, you know, I tell people, like, look, you can buy this TV that costs this much, or you can buy this TV that costs this much. These are electronic products. There's no such thing as a perfect product. You can buy a fucking Mercedes and have a failure. You can buy a Porsche and have an issue. There's no such thing as a perfect product unless you're buying a Ferrari or Lamborghini and you're paying for the fact that there can be no imperfections. If I spend $200,000, or if I buy a Veyron and I spend $1.4 million or $5 or $2 million, there better fucking not be any imperfections. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, that's it, man. That's the rant. That's the Kaleidescape rant again. I love the Kaleidescape rants because they're so good. Because I love it. I love how passionate people are about their wallets and what they think is worth it and not worth it.
You got to be today.
I love it. I love it. Sensitive people. That's cool. And in today's climate, it's not good for today's people's climate. in the economy today. Listen, I don't care about today's climate. I'm reviewing a product. What do I care what somebody else can afford? I'm just talking about something.
The funny thing about your reviews is the fact that if they keep, you know, if there's a continued shortage of semiconductors, no one will be able to get anything. So it doesn't matter what you like or don't like, you won't be able to buy jack shit because everything runs on semiconductors. So send your water bottles to Taiwan so they can make chips.
Well, you know, I enjoy the reviews. You should be able to hear that.
What? I can't hear anything.
Hear that?
Oh, sorry. And for all you people that heard my finger tapping throughout the whole portion, sorry.
But yeah. Anyways, yo, keep the comments coming. I do love the comments. Just try not to make people feel bad just because they're spending money on expensive products. It's not like I feel like it's not a good look. If somebody wants to spend money on a Kaleidescape, somebody wants to spend money on some cables, it's probably worth it to them. Just because it's not worth it to you doesn't mean anything. don't mean you're gonna try to knock it down.
As long as the bills are paid and their kids have food on the table.
That's right. Just as long as you can take care of your business. If you're a hardworking individual and you can afford this stuff, and you can still live a good life, yo, buy all you want.
And live the life you can.
Live it, love it. Then you die, and then goes into a landfill somewhere. Well, that's the Kaleidescape. I don't even know what else we got left to talk about. I think tomorrow or the next day we're going to review. We're going to drop the review for the Technics integrated amplifier, the SUR 1000, against the NAD M33 integrated amplifier. We got that coming. We wrapped that up today. The NAD is $5,000. The Technics is $10,000. $9,500. You guys take a guess which one is better. Is the more expensive one better, or is the one that costs half price better? That's a tough call right there. Very tough call right there.
Have I told any of you that Shane looks oddly like a praying mantis when he's operating everything? It's an Asian thing.
What else we got here? I think that's it. Speed 4K review. We did that one. That's one of my favorite movies, actually. Speed 4K Blu-ray review. It looked okay. Only maybe like a really good looking Blu-ray, I would say. And then the audio is the same as all the older Blu-rays.
People still bitching about Shane reviewing high-end equipment. ? I have a 65-inch Vizio 4K M series and a Sony 4K receiver, a Panasonic 4K player, and clip speakers. Love my system. Love this channel.
There you go, man.
That's what I'm talking about.
Listen, I don't know how many other channels review high-end home theater equipment. Usually, if I do it, then usually other channels follow afterwards. So I'm not really sure how many other channels do high-end.
I hate to say this. I was telling him about this today. Like, I've been noticing all kinds of other channels now, like following him, trying to do this, trying to do that, you know.
So, I mean, let's see. You guys should be happy, man. If you guys just want to live in a world with Den on Marantz, that's cool. You guys want to just live in a world with Onkyo and Pioneer, that's all right.
So, basically, if you want to live in a world dominated by Sound United, go right ahead. What do they say? One ring to rule them all?
So that's that, and I think that's it. I think that's all we got. That's all we got to talk about.
I need to go home at some point, man.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know if there's any questions there, but we ain't got time to answer anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, yo, thanks for hanging out with us today. We will see you guys in the next one.
Take care, guys.